Continuing our mock draft series in the AFC North with the Baltimore Ravens currently picking number 24 overall with a 9-5 record as of right now. Dalton, we're doing a 3-round mock draft with the Baltimore Ravens. But if you want to do a full 7-round mock for however many rounds you want to do, you could use it doing the PFF Mock Draft Simulator. You can find at pff.com for the Ravens, for your team, for your rivals team, for any team in the NFL or all teams in the NFL. If you want to do it, you can use it with the PFF Mock Draft Simulator. All right, number 24 overall, the Baltimore Ravens. Not doing any trades, but you can do trades in the Mock Draft Simulator using players or picks if you want to. They have the 24th overall pick, Dalton. Who stands out to you right now? I think kind of corner, tackle, edge defender is where I'm looking right now for the Ravens. Is there anyone here that kind of fits any of those spots that you think could be a really good fit in Baltimore? Is there another player kind of looking at right now who's catching your eye right now for the Ravens?
I think the kryptonite for me is just pass defense in general, whether we go pass rusher, whether we go coverage guy, a corner. I know they went Nate Wiggins last year, but they need some more help in the secondary. Maybe another safety to go along with Kyle Hamilton after losing Geno Stone in free agency. I think we have several different options when we're looking at what the Ravens can do and how they can fix their pass defense. So we could really go through kind of just the overall board and see what we think fits best as far as, okay, maybe somebody off the edge to go with Odafe Owe, and David Ojabo's getting healthy. He's been a contributor, but we don't have a primetime pass rusher, and we need one more piece in the secondary. It's a pass defense that's really struggled.
So, okay, I hate to keep throwing this guy out there because we just did him before for the Cleveland Browns and for the the Cincinnati Bengals we did him for. James Smith Jr. is still on the board, I believe, in this mock draft. We could skip him if you want because we've done it so often before. I've said before, and I think you are too, you're very high on him. Just maybe purely realism-wise, he might not be here at 24.
Right.
So if you want to skip him here, because I think this would be a great pick for them, but I don't know if he'll actually be here at number 24 overall.
Yeah, I think, if we scroll down that edge list a little bit, and there's a guy I really like who I think is going to be a first-round pick.
Umanmielen.
Sure if he's sitting there. Princely Umanmielen is a guy that jumps out to me. Out of those guys in that list as a pure pass rusher, like LT Overton's kind of a versatile run stopper. Now, it could be Overton, too, and he's kind of that movable piece, but you sort of already kind of have that with Matabike. He moves around on the inside there. Landon Jackson's really a more pure run defender. They don't need a whole lot of that. I think Umanmielen is a guy that might make some sense. And then if we look through some cornerbacks too, I think we could still look in the secondary at some coverage help, because this is a team near the bottom of the league in pass defense right now. It's really, especially with passing yards and giving up too many explosive plays. So if we look at what's available here, and we're talking about, okay, Amos, and then there's, Siobhan Ravel, maybe they take a chance, man-to-man coverage. I think there's definitely options. There's different ways to go about this, but I think pass defense has to be on the board here. Boy, Tyler Warren would have been fun with that pick before with this team, the way they use tight ends. But that's what I would think is maybe a Trey Amos or a Ravel, or I might reach a little bit and go with Umanmielen, because I think there's a very good chance he could be a first-round pick. He's of those remaining edge players, he might be the best pure pass rusher.
So I was watching a lot of cornerbacks last night, and the reason why I think we pass on cornerback here is because one guy I love in this cornerback class, it's falling a little bit, or at least it's not going to be picked this high, is Zaire Thomas from Florida State. And I think he does fit this defense. He's a very aggressive corner as well. Really good run defender, I think, and also just in press coverage, he's outstanding in my opinion. But I don't think he's going this high. I would take him high in the second round, and I think there's a chance he'll be there at 56 overall. So I think that might be a
chance. Or we could even dip in and start looking at safeties too if he's not there. I don't hate that. So we could go off the edge. I mean, I
kind of like the edge.
I don't hate the idea of Princely. I think he's the best pure pass rusher of that bunch. Although there's some, there's several different guys. So right, because you got Overton and Michael Williams who kind of fit that 5 technique role. Umanmielen's a stand-up outside rusher. I think any of them could help absolutely, but I think he's the best pure pass rusher right now of the bunch.
What about offensive tackle? Is that a thought for you here? I know they have Roger Rosengard and Ryan Stanley.
I think Rosengarten's been playing better lately. I think he's going to stick around at right tackle. I think it depends on what you still think of Ronnie Stanley, and when he's healthy, he's still really good. I think the interior
And next year's a void year for Ryan Stanley, so he might be a free agent.
That's an issue. So left tackle could be an option. I
just don't know if this tackle class did not fall the way we needed.
That's not a group that I wouldn't take any of those guys in the first round.
No.
I don't think. Right?
Okay, so we'll pass there. Yeah.
And I still think if they work out something with Stanley, I think they're looking at guards. I think that's where they've struggled the most. So we could get to the interior maybe later, but your call. If you want to go pass rush, if you think Princely might be the right move here, get a pass rusher and at least figure out coverage later and how to fix that later. I know recently, actually, our good friend Gordon was telling me that Kyle Hamilton's playing a more free safety kind of role instead of in the box, and that's really helped on the back end. So we get some more pass rush going, then I think this could really this pass defense could get a lot better.
Yeah, let's go with pass rush. And again, I would go with James Pierce Jr. I don't know how realistic it is that he'll be here at number 24 overall, though, so we'll pass on him here just for the sake of realism. So let's go with Princely Umanmiele, because I agree with you. The other edge defenders on that board right there, like Michael Williams, Landon Jackson, and LT Overton, more scream like really good run defenders for me. I think Princely Umanmiele is also a good run defender, but I think it adds a little bit more juice as a pass rusher. So let's go with him there. Number 24 overall, we have him there. Number 56 overall now, Dalton. Now I think we start to look at maybe the secondary. Maybe there's a offensive lineman that we'd like as well. So I'm trying to look at this board and to see who could be available for Baltimore, right? And I think if you look at the cornerback class again, that might be an avenue they might look at. Like Azareye'h Thomas, like I said before, Zy Alexander.
Zy Alexander's a good press man corner.
Yeah,
I could see that too. I think Alexander's an option. He's got really good size. I think Dalen Everett, even if we got him in the next round, he's shown to be a really good man-to-man corner at Georgia. I think if that's the type of guy you're looking at, you do have several options here. So if we wanted to, with Everett and possibly even Thomas sitting next on the board, or if you wanted Alexander here, who, what is he, about 6'2" and 190 or so? He's got long arms, really good in press man. He's got to work on some of his footwork in zone when he's off, but if you're looking for a more aggressive corner who can lock in one-on-one and play press man coverage and cover those vertical routes in tight space, I don't hate that. Alexander wouldn't be a terrible pick here.
Yeah, I don't hate that either. And I think we took Azareye'h Thomas in a previous mock draft, so let's pass on him here and let's go with a different player just for the getting more players on the board here. So I think Zy Alexander, I do like that fit a lot, though, in Baltimore. I think he's a really, really good player, and I think this is probably worth around the pick where he would go as well. So let's go with Zy Alexander at 56 overall for the Baltimore Ravens. And the final pick at number 88 overall, Jonas Sanker is still on the board here, a safety that Trevor likes a lot. I like him too as a kind of a physical box safety a lot of times, in my opinion. Melville Dotson, we just took a corner, but he's a really good player as well. Blake Miller wouldn't be a horrible pick, I don't think. I think there's still an opportunity there to improve the offensive line. Azareye'h Thomas is still on the board at number 88 overall. Who catches your eye here on the board?
I think two places I look at now, it's either interior offensive line or I'm in the boat of them still drafting receivers. I think they still need some. I know Rashad Bateman's come on a little bit lately. You could also look at some linebacker depth behind Roquan Smith and Trenton Simpson, but I think either interior offensive line or wide receiver. We could see what receivers are on the board here. I know Tez Walker caught his first touchdown last week, but I think that was his first catch all season. So we're just trying to still find weapons that can get down the field for us, right? And a little bit of a reach for some of these guys. Knoll, I think, is a slot weapon who's kind of redundant to Zay Flowers. Pat Bryant makes some sense, but maybe a fourth-round grade there. So maybe we go to interior offensive line. Let's look at the guard spot especially. I think that's where we're looking to find some answers. Linderbaum's obviously great at center.
Yeah.
He ain't going anywhere for the next decade. But we look at some guards here. Armaj Reed Adams, solid run blocker out of Texas A&M. Don't hate that idea. I think maybe you give him at least a competing for a spot at right guard there, maybe with Daniel Faalele, who's been up and down this season for sure. I think a guard would make sense if Reed Adams was there. That might make some sense in the spot, and then we can circle back to the receivers and other weapons later.
One guy I'm eyeing too, and I don't know if he's available right now, is Billy Bowman Jr. because I think Kyle Hamilton obviously is a very versatile chess piece. I think if you put Billy Bowman as your just deep free safety and let Kyle Hamilton be that versatile chess piece, another avenue you could do here as well. So I don't know if he is still on the board here. That's the guy I was kind of eyeing for this Baltimore defense. I think safety they can still improve at outside of Kyle Hamilton, obviously.
And Hamilton's so good in the box.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing is for as great as he's playing, he's great anywhere, right? He's one of the best safeties in football. But to have him floating around in that kind of joker role where he's boxing the slot and free, sometimes he can go one high, two high. I get that. Bowman is a ball hawk, sometimes even over aggressive with it, but he's certainly a ball hawk, and he would get after the football anytime and anywhere he's at on the field.
And having a guy like Kyle Hamilton alongside him as well, like allows him to just roam free as a safety. And I think that would be a lot of fun in that defense, because I think
it's what they had before when Marcus Williams was playing a little bit better, who's a true free safety who gets after the football like that. It makes a lot of sense.
And Jonas Sanker, I just don't like the fit, because I think he's a lot like Kyle Hamilton. Right? He's a guy who plays really well in the box. So I don't, even though Sanker's higher on the board here at safety, I don't think he really fits this defense as well as a Billy Bowman Jr. So my vote would personally go to Billy Bowman Jr., but I don't know if there's another prospect that you're talking about.
I could roll with anything. Honestly, anything that fixes up this pass defense, I'm in for, because that's the biggest kryptonite on this team.
All right, let's go with Oklahoma's Billy Bowman Jr., the safety, to round out this 3-round mock draft for the Baltimore Ravens. To recap, we took Princely Iman-Mielon in the first round, Zy Alexander, the corner, in the second round, Billy Bowman Jr. in the third round, the safety, just really improving this pass defense.
As pure pass defenders as you could find, we just went with it. Let's get back into being in the top 10 of pass defense if we're the Ravens, and now we can score a bunch of points without having both sides of the game getting up to 35, 40 points every week.
2 players in the secondary and a pass rusher as well. We are just trying to hammer home. They need to help out this pass defense. But that's what we got for our 3-round mock draft of the Baltimore Ravens. I want to remind you guys we're doing this for every single division, every single team in the NFL as well. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single one. For Dalton Wasserman, I'm Max Chadwick. We'll see you guys very soon with our next mock draft for the next team.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below, so if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can become one today.